all of you are now doing, which is talking to people, recruiting, bringing people into the system, having people over your home, developing leadership, all the things that we're going to teach you how to do if you're brand new, and all the things that you're doing if you've been around for a while. I did that for 9.5 years.
Wow.
But after 9.5 years with that one company, the rug got pulled out from underneath me, and things changed dramatically for me. And to be quite frank with you and open with you, I did not want anything to do with this industry of network marketing ever again. I was totally burned out with the industry. I was so disillusioned. I didn't want to recruit anybody else. I didn't want to talk to anybody else about this business. In fact, if you would have told me in 1991 that there was going to be an event just like this, and you would pay my entire way, you would pay my flight, my hotel, my food, my ticket in, I would have told you, I am not going, I want nothing to do with it. That's the mindset that I was in 1991. But here's what I can tell you as I look back at everything, is that I now know that some of our biggest disappointments in our lives are some of God's greatest appointments for our lives, but we just don't know it at the time. Because that is exactly what happened to me. In that same time that I was totally lost, didn't know what I was going to do with my career, I had the distinct pleasure of meeting who are now the other four co-founders, the other co-founders of ACN. And we had all come together at a point in time where we were sick and tired of being sick and tired. Where they had all similar backgrounds, similar experiences in network marketing with other companies. And we came together through a mutual friend. And we said, you know what? We know that this industry works. We know that network marketing works, but it only works in the right environment. And so we started looking for a company that we all could work together in, collectively put our efforts together, and find a company that would operate honestly, ethically, and we could really put our heart and soul and work ethic into this company. And back in 1992, as we did all of our due diligence, we could not find one other company that we could put our faith and trust in. And so we got a real crazy idea. And here was the idea. Why don't we put together our own company? Why don't we just put together a company that will operate in the manner of the types of companies that we're looking for? Now understand, I didn't know these guys at all, and they didn't know me. We didn't know each other. We just got together with mutual friends. And so here's what we decided to do. We said, why don't we just take all of our notes, all of our videotapes, and let's go have a meeting, and let's see if we can put something together that would make sense for us to launch. And so we got together at Tony Kupas's apartments, one of the other co-founders. And Tony Kupas, him and his brother had separate apartments in the same complex, but we ended up in Tony's apartment, and here we were sitting on a small, round kitchen table, and I had 9.5 years worth of notes, audio tape. Look, we didn't even know what we were going to call this company at that time. That's how primitive it was. And so while I was sitting there, pouring through all of these notes and just trying to figure out what we were going to do, what the success plan was going to be, what the compensation plan was going to be like, I see Tony get up and he goes to the window of his apartment. And he had blinds, you know, the
vertical.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He had blinds,
Yes.
and he, for some reason, he peeked through the blinds, and he says, "Oh no." And I look at him and see, and I'm looking at him and say, "What do you mean, oh no?" He says, there are cops surrounding this apartment. And then he says, oh no. They are getting out, and now 2 of them have guns pointing at this apartment, and he says, get down now. And I went, because many of you don't know this, but I grew up in the inner city of Detroit. And when somebody tells you to get down, you immediately get down. And so here I am on the floor. I got my head covered because I have no idea what's about to happen. Remember, I don't know these guys. So I'm thinking to myself, what in the world did I get myself into? Are these guys drug dealers? And I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time? Am I not going to see my kids grow up? Am I going to jail for 15, 20 years? Just associating with these guys? And then you start to pray. And I said, Lord, if you get me out of this one, I'll serve you every day of my life.
Amen.
And then as I was laying down, and I'm not looking at anybody else, I just got my head down protecting it. Tony says, just kidding. I wanted to kill the guy. But at the same time, I knew that we were going to be friends for life that day, from that day forward. That is... And it was just amazing to me to see what had transpired from that meeting, because here's what we did. Our business, we put a business plan together that very day. And our business plan was a legal sheet of paper, legal pad of paper. And all that we did is we listed everything on the left side of the page that we knew that would work in network marketing based on our experience with our other companies. On the right side of the page, we listed everything that we knew that would not work. And here is what we did. This is not going to give all you brand new people a lot of confidence in ACN, I guarantee you that. Is we ripped that page in half, we threw away everything that we knew that would not work, and we implemented everything that we knew that would work. And that's one of the reasons why we've had so much success over the last 25 years with our company. It was that simple. It was that simple. And we started off with about 20 people that still believed in us, because, you know, with our group, you know, listen, how many of you have tried things before and failed? Any of you?
Yes!
Well, for some reason, we tried things. I tried things and failed, tried things and failed, tried something else and failed again. And you know, when you do many things and you fail at them, you lose some credibility with people. But there were still about 20 people that still believed in us. And here's what we told these original people. First of all, we told them that we want to build a different kind of company. We want to build a company where there's no fine print, there's no red tape, that we're going to pay you exactly what you're worth. We also told them that the chances of us making it are so slim But if we do, it will be the greatest ride of your lives. Now, some of those 20 people are still with us today. How do you think they feel about their decision? They feel pretty good, don't they? Some of those 20 people are no longer with us today. They quit along the way. How do you think they feel about their decision?
Disappointed.
Not so good. And here's the last thing that we told this group of people. That we are always going to give back to the people that helped build this company. That when ACN starts to do well, we're going to give back to the people that help ACN to do well. So we're always going to figure out ways to increase the compensation plan. Wow. So that's what those are the ground rules for how we established this company. And I'm telling you, most people thought that we were absolutely crazy, folks. Because we were going up against some of the largest telecommunications providers in the world. In fact, we had so many haters back then, way before Taylor Swift came up and talked about haters are gonna hate. We had a ton around us. But we wanted to establish this type of company. And so in January of 1993, we kicked off the company. We kicked it off. And I can tell you about our very, very first meeting, since we're talking about a little history, I'll tell you about our very first meeting. It was in a suburb of Detroit called Troy, Michigan. And I'll never forget, it was very, very cold. It was in January. And we got there early, making sure that the room was set up, you know, all the things that you do when you have a meeting, to make sure that the heat or the air conditioning, whatever the case may be, in the room there the temperature was good, the chairs were set up, the AV was going to be set up. So we got there early. I parked my car in the back of the hotel, but as about 20 minutes, a half hour before the event starts, we see all these people starting to pull up. And I'm in the back of the room, and I'm looking at the parade of people that are coming in, because we had hundreds of people show up to our first meeting. And these people were pulling up in Mercedes-Benz. They were valeting their cars. They were driving Cadillacs back then, very nice vehicles. Some of the women were walking in with fur-length mink coats. And I'm thinking to myself, holy crap. What am I going to tell all these people? These people are so much more successful than we are. How am I going to get all these people excited? We're a baby startup. We threw everything we had at ACN. We don't have any wealth. What am I going to tell all these people? Here's what happened at our first meeting. This was a very, very valuable lesson that happened to us. Is that after our meeting was over, those very people that looked so successful, every single one of them gave us an application. And that taught me a very valuable lesson. And here's the lesson that it taught me. Is that people don't necessarily follow people that have money. People follow people that have vision. And we painted a vision for those people. And we told them that we're just starting out. This is ground floor, but we're gonna do something spectacular. And I can tell you that, some of those people it was amazing for us to see the response that we got. But I got to tell you, it wasn't easy back then. It wasn't easy. And I was so grateful, by the way, that I got there early and parked in the back of the hotel, because the car that I was driving was not a car that you valet. You see, in 1993, I was driving a 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco. Wow. And that was proof again to me that what we were doing was right because we had started attracting the right kind of people in spite of how difficult that it was. And I'm going to share with you some of those hurdles. We started out in a 1,500 square foot office. It was just a small office is all we had. We had one executive office. So when I had a meeting to tell people about ACN, you know, nameplates were big back in 1993. I took my nameplate out of the drawer, put it on top of the desk, and that was my office for that period of time that I was telling people about ACN. When Mike, Tony, or Robert had a meeting, my nameplate went in the drawer, theirs went on top, and that was the only executive office that we had. It was unbelievable. Our original videos that we had, the opportunity video, was reproduced on VHS tapes. Any of you remember VHS?
Yes.
We still have
Remember VHS? How many of you don't want to admit you remember VHS? Yeah. I remember VHS tapes. You remember VHS tapes. And so what happened is we produced this video, and we were so proud of the production, but as we look back at it now, we had an eagle that was flying that looked like it had rheumatoid arthritis. It was doing this, but we were so proud of that video. And what we didn't know was that the reproduction house that produced our videos, they had used old VHS tapes. And they put our video on top of something else that was already recorded. And the thing that was already recorded was this. The first 30 seconds in every single one of those videos was Woody Woodpecker. Now, can you imagine? You're going into people's homes that you know, that you love. You're there to tell them about this wonderful opportunity that's about to happen. They're on the ground floor. Here's the opportunity video. You plug it in, and you got an eagle with rheumatoid arthritis and Woody Woodpecker for the first 30 seconds. How much credibility do you think we had to launch this company? When we launched ACN, there was no internet. I mean, I wish I had enough time to tell you some of the stories about our original website and the guy that came to me. This was so primitive. We were dealing with fax machines. We were dealing with snail mail. There was no texting, copy machines. We had all of the disadvantages of yesterday, but we just didn't know it. That was normal back then. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
We just didn't know anything different. In fact, I remember distinctly saying these words. Someday, we're going to be buying things online instead of in line. And everybody said, ooh. I'll never forget it. Now, can you imagine having that conversation today? It's almost a joke. Here's what I can tell you. There were some days in the early days where we didn't think that we would be able to operate one more day because things happened and we were running out of money. And here's what I can tell you about this company, folks. Is somehow, someday, when there was a time where we didn't know whether or not tomorrow was going to be a day where we'd be in business, when that door was totally closed, somehow, some way, there was another door or another window that got open. And I'm here to tell you that you're looking at one of the most blessed companies that you will ever lay your eyes on. I'm telling you. I mean that in the bottom of my heart because I know exactly how we started and I know all the hurdles that we had to overcome in order to get to be where they're at. Let me tell you something else how we began. We just began in the long distance business. Any of you remember just long distance?
Yes.
Long distance was tough back then. In fact, we were competing against some of the major providers, AT&T, MCI, and Sprint. And every time that we grabbed one of their customers and put them on ACN service, every single time we did that, when they found out that we were switching them, those companies would send a check to the customers that we replaced. And that check was in denominations of 50 US dollars or 100 US dollars. And when they sent that check to our customers, all that customer had to do was sign the back of that check, endorse the check. And what they were doing was authorizing that company to switch them back from ACN service to their original service providers. Do you know how often that happened? Every single time. How often?
Every single time.
How often?
Every single time.
Can you imagine trying to get a customer and every single time they got an offer from the person or the company that you were switching them from? Do you know how difficult that was to try and keep a customer base? In fact, the long distance portion of the phone bill was about 17 US dollars, 10 to $17 on average, and I don't know exactly where that was as I'm thinking about it now, but it was a very low amount of money. That's all the amount of money, all the revenue that we could get per household. And when we started, we only paid 2.5% on the 7th level for residual income. Now, some of you may think now, 2.5%, I would never work for 2.5%. That's because you know what you have today. But when we started, 2.5% was great. In fact, I got to tell you that in the early days of ACN, when we first founded the company, our recruiting numbers were skyrocketing. Our customer acquisition was skyrocketing. In fact, if you could graph our growth, it would look just like this, just like a hockey stick. Things were going great. And as things were going so well, we decided to make a change. And here was the change that we made. We made an announcement and we said that we are going to increase the residual income from 2.5% to 4%. So what do you think that did to the sales force? It gave them so much confidence, not because of the amount of money that they were going to make, but because they finally knew that they were with a company that was going to follow through with what they said that they were going to do. And that's a fact. It sent a shockwave through that company. And so now, we just don't have 4%. We went from 2.5 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to what?
7.
7% on services that we pay on a residual basis. Isn't that unbelievable? So it's a little bit better today than when we started. And on the personal residual side, you could only get 8% personal residual income. Now, as I think about the criteria that you had to have in order to get 8%, it's almost comical to me. Because in order for you to qualify or to get 8% personal residual income, you had to have $10,000 a month in personal billing volume. Off of your personal customers that you've acquired in order for you to get 8% personal residual income. What do you have to do today to get 10% personal residual income? 40 points?
40 points.
Did you say 40 points?
Yes.
Not $10,000 a month? 40 points. Give me a break already. And yet, this is, I see, without a frame of reference, you have no idea how good ACN is. That's why I want you to know. And yet, through all those hurdles, through all the customers that got checks in the mail, through all the times that we were only paying what we were paying. Residual income for our IBOs was tremendous. Customers were tremendous. Recruiting was tremendous. And within our first 5 years in business, folks, we were listed as the 22nd fastest growing company on the Inc. 500 list with an average bill of $15. So my question to you is, do you think we have a winning model?
Yes.
So today is a totally different story, isn't it?
Yes.
Today in some markets in Europe you can sell gas, you can sell electricity. Today in some markets we have home security. Today in some markets we have TV, we have personal care, we have wellness. We also have what's called mobile phones. Any of you familiar with mobile phones? Mobile phone. Look, how important has this become to you?
Very.
Is this important to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's important to me too. So let me ask you a question. If you left your house and you left this at home, what are you going to do?
Go back. Go back to.
What are you going to do?
Go back to collect it.
You're going to go back.
Yes.
When are you going to go back?
Immediately.
Like, are you going to wait to go back?
No, straight away.
Are you going to think about going back?
No,
When are you going to go back?
straight
Straight
away.
away.
Now. Why are you going to go back now?
Now.
Because you can't live without this. See, some of you, if you're honest, if you left your house and you left your kids at home, you wouldn't go back to pick them up. But you're going to go back to pick this up. Some of you are laughing because you know it's the truth. You get paid off of this. Every time somebody uses this, you get paid. Do you understand? When we were in the long distance business, nobody wanted you to use long distance. In fact, in my house, if you used long distance, you were going to get smacked.
Yeah, it would cost you a lot of money. Yeah.
When you dialed 1 on your phone, it was like a family event. Hey, there's a long distance call. Everybody got around the phone just so we can have one conversation because nobody wanted you to use long distance. Remember those days?
Yes, yes.
See, I don't know about you, but I grew up in a house where if you left the room and you left the light on, there was a problem. I remember distinctly once, it was in the kitchen, I opened up the refrigerator door, and I was standing there too long trying to figure out what I wanted to eat, and my dad says, "What are you doing, shopping? Shut the door." That's the type of house that I grew up in. Is that the type of house that you grew up in?
Yes.
So we're marketing something that people want, they need, they use every single day.
Wow.
And listen here, you have no idea how good you got it. Because some of the major telecommunications providers spent billions upon billions of euro just so they can get customers. And they can make residual income off of their customers. They spent billions. How much did you spend?
Nothing. Compared to them.
Less than 500 euro? And you can make residual income off every time somebody uses this?
Thank you.
Are you kidding me? You can make money off somebody turning on their lights, heating their homes. You can make money off somebody feeling good and looking good. Do you think we have a great opportunity today in relation to what we did? Our greatest days are ahead of us, folks, not behind us.
Yes.
Let me tell you something that you don't know. I found this fact out about 30 days ago. It blew me away. You know what I found out? That one half of the Fortune 100 companies are going to be totally out of business 15 years from now because of technological advances.
That's true. Very true.
Now, what does that mean? That means there are going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are employed that are not going to be employed by those companies anymore because they're putting their faith and trust in their corporate jobs, and it's not going to work out for them. Do people need to hear about ACN?
Yes.
I'm telling you, our best days are ahead of us. We're going to do more business in the next 3 years than we did in the last 10 years. Are our best days ahead of us, yes or no?
Yes.
I'm telling you, folks, it is so rare. It is so rare to find a company that is 25 years old. Actually, this is their 26th year. 26 years old. And yet still be at a ground floor pace with what you have to go after in the marketplace. Because as much as we've done in all the countries that we're in 25 countries, we still have less than 1% market penetration in anything that we're doing, in any industry, with any service or any product. Is there an opportunity left, yes or no?
Great opportunity, yes.
It's just amazing to me to see what is about to happen. Our biggest, the biggest amount of money that is about to come to you are on services that are not even invented yet. Do you understand that? Do you understand there's going to be things that are going to come down in the future that you're going to be able to market, that you're going to gain residual income on? So what does all this mean to you? Big deal. ACN's had a lot of success. We had a lot of history. There's a lot of great things that have gone on. What does this mean to you? And I'm here to tell you just everything. The reason why just everything is this is because we have a proven winning model.
Yes.
It's proven over the last 25 years. There should be no question in your mind that what we have works. And when you combine the timing that we're in with the services that we have, with the products that we have, with our distribution system, can you see how ACN can become a multi-billion-dollar company someday? Can you see that?
Yes.
And here's the best news for you. Is the only way that ACN can become a multi-billion-dollar company is if we can show enough of you how to build your multi-million-dollar companies within this company. How does that sound?
Great.
That's how it works. It's a very simple process. And so there should be no question in your mind about whether there's an opportunity. Maybe for those of you that stood up, this is your very first meeting, maybe the only question that's coming in your mind is this: can I do this? You know, this all looks good, it sounds good, it's a very solid company, it's been around, but can I do this? And listen, I flew all the way to Rotterdam from Charlotte, North Carolina to tell all the brand new people this. Yes, you can do this. And there's a very good reason why I can tell you that you can do this. It isn't just because I'm trying to excite you and pump you up. We have data. We have statistics. Listen, I know all of the regional vice presidents at ACN, every single one of them. I know all of the senior vice presidents and their families, every single one of them. I know all of the global Circle of Champions, some of the top people in all of ACN and their families, every single one of them. And I happen to know all of the co-founders.
Wow.
Can I tell you something about all those groups of people? Listen, there's not one person that I can think of, not one, that possesses superstar talent in all those groups. Not one. See, you may think that this is the way that we've always been. You know, we got suits on, we got ties on, you know, we're giving you a presentation. You saw some of the leaders yesterday. They all did a tremendous job. We did a leadership session yesterday morning. We poured everything. You may just look at us and say, you know what? These guys have always been like this. Oh, no. We grew into this just like you're going to grow into it. We were scared just like you're probably scared now. We have the same doubts, fears, worries, and hurts as you do. And I'm telling you, the only difference between where you're at right now and where you want to be are 4 things that I can share with you. You ready? Here they are. Time. You got to give this thing time. If somebody told you that you're going to get wealthy overnight, I apologize to you, they lied to you. You got to give it time. This isn't going to happen overnight for you. You got to grow into this thing. You got to plug into the environment that we provide. That's why you're here, so that you can get trained on how to do it. Is that okay? You got to give it time.
Yes.
You also got to give it effort. You can't just be around successful people and expect to be successful. You can't become a senior vice president by osmosis. It doesn't happen. You got to work. See, I find that I told the leaders this yesterday. You should never ask for anything that you're not willing to work for. This, you got to give effort. And you got to give effort over a period of time. And the third thing that I'm going to tell you out of the 4 is that you can't quit. See, most of you have quit on everything. I wish I had enough time to tell you stories and teach you some things about not quitting, but time doesn't allow me to do that. But you just have to make a decision that no matter what happens, that you're not going to quit and let this thing fall through the cracks. You have to make sure that you're here long term so you can possibly change the course of your family trees. Doesn't that sound good to you?
Yes.
You can't accomplish anything if you quit. In fact, let me tell you this, most people quit just before they win. Because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow if you see tomorrow through. Does that make sense to you? And the 4th thing that's separating you from where you're at, from where you want to be, is a track to run on. And that's our job. That's our job. We're going to give you that track to run on. Over these next 2 days, you're going to get some of the most spectacular training you've ever heard in your lives. And you know why? It's because you're going to hear from people that have done it. You're not going to hear a bunch of theory about how things they think they're going to work or how things should work. No, they're going to tell you exactly what you need to do in order to be successful. Is that okay? You're going to hear from these people that sat where you're sitting right now, had their very first meeting, just like you are having your very first meeting right now, those of you that are brand new. And here's what was going through their minds, just like maybe it's going through your mind. Man, I just hope and pray that what I'm seeing is legal. And if it is, I'm going to the top. I've been waiting for something like this all my life. I've been looking for people like this all my life. I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to sacrifice. All that I was looking for a vehicle. Is that you?
Yes. Yes.
You're in the right place at the right time.